as you said, I think we've seen the birth of a real star in this tournament, the way he's played.
There's something all the more exciting about that because it was a 21-year-old against a 19-year-old. There's the googly. I think that was picked by Mohamed Waseem. The end of the 8th over. It's a wicket-taking one. Nepal, they're back into the game. 8 gone. 73 for 2.
Introducing the TVS Apache RTR 204V, engineered to adapt.
Plumber CPVC pipes and fittings. गुणस्तरीय, टिकाऊ, तातो चिसो अनुकूल, लीकेज को पक्का समाधान.
यो मैसेज वाला लीकेज को नि केही समाधान छ कि?
Plumber CPVC pipes and fittings. विश्वास प्लम्बिङ को.
आमाको हात अमृतको स्वाद.
विगत 45 वर्षदेखि अमृत तेल नै हो अमृत.
आफ्नै जस्तो लाग्छ, आफ्नै जस्तो लाग्छ.
Yasuda, your complete home solution.
So, an interesting tactic from Sandeep Lamachani. He's not going to go to Dipender Singh Airi yet. I thought he would with the left-handed Mohammad Usman to the crease. He's going to continue with the part-time medium pace of Arif Sheikh. Paul, why is that?
That's baffled me as much as it had you, Lenny, to be honest. I thought it would be quite a sensible move, bringing him on just to bowl, but then, you know, they turned the strike over there and Waseem is on strike here, so it's facing exactly the same problems as you would do as an off-spinner, I suppose. So 6 of one, half dozen the other, maybe.
Big swing, big heave into the leg side. This is a huge gamble from Lamachani. Both the medium pace of Mohammad Arif Sheikh to Mohammad Waseem. That boundary to the leg side, probably 55, 60 yards today with the wind.
Well within Waseem's compass. He's hit 6s at the...
Good bowling, clever bowling though. The slower ball hidden away outside the off stump. Maybe is Lamachani just conscious of the fact that Mukia in particular struggled and Bahara struggled. He's just trying to give himself some options. No Kushal Malla today. The left arm spinner dropped from the team, the all-rounder.
Yeah, he needs to buy a few overs from somewhere, doesn't he? So the fact that there's only recently been a wicket means perhaps UAE will temper their shots at this stage. So it's working at the moment.
I think it was maybe a calculated risk, and of course, like any of those decisions you make as a captain, if they go well, you look like a genius. If they go wrong, you look like a fool.
If they go wrong, you've got to solve it yourself, which is what he's been doing so far.
Down the leg side, going to be probably just the single. These two, they won't be as quick between the wickets as when Aravind was at the crease either.
Yeah, they'll be a bit more evenly paced. Usman actually wasn't even in the 14 until 2 games ago. Mohamed Bhutta left the team with injury, so they needed a rejig and they got Usman in. He's a very experienced player. He's pretty unlucky to miss out on the 14 in the first place. Straight into the lineup they could do with his experience today.
Big hit attempted into the leg side, and not too sure why backward square leg isn't in that place. He's miles behind square, 15 yards behind square, boundary to end the 9th over. It's 80 for 2. 15 yards behind square, boundary to end the 9th over. It's 80 for 2. 15 yards behind square, boundary to end the 9th over. It's 80 for 2. 15 yards behind square, boundary to end the 9th over. It's 80 for 2. 15 yards behind square, boundary to end the 9th over. It's 80 for 2. 15 yards behind square, boundary to end the 9th over. 80 for 2. 15 yards behind square, boundary to end the 9th over. 80 for 2. 15 yards behind square, boundary to end the 9th over. 80 for 2. 15 yards
KNP Nerolac, a subsidiary of Kansai Paints, Japan.
आमाको हात अमृतको स्वाद.
विगत 45 वर्षदेखि अमृत तेल नै हो अमृत.
So, Dipender Singh Airi, it's going to be on what I have dubbed Tense Tuesday. We've spoken about Varitya Aravind being the Iceman for the UAE. Here is Nepal's Iceman. He's going to bowl his off breaks from this end of the ground to the left-hander. I think maybe Lamachani's decided that. Firstly, to hold 2 of his overs back, Paul, but also because then the right-hander, Mohammad Waseem, will have the bigger boundary to hit into the wind.
Yeah, and into the wind as well. Yeah, it's a good move, I think. You can get some purchase. Could be dangerous.
Mix up. They're going to turn down the single. How the game changes. It's never simple at the associate level. We see a massive ebb and flow just in the last couple of overs with that dismissal of Aravind. One
thing nobody ever seems bothered by these days is the fact that Usman ran straight down the middle of the wicket there. No one ever says anything about that these days.
They get after the bowlers about it, but not after the batters. You're spot on. Going to be runs here. A nice touch shot from Usman. The pressure was building on him. Dot, dot, dot. But he's used the pace of that delivery. Got it behind square for his first boundary.
Yeah, it was a clever shot. I think he's probably feeling the pressure even before he came out to bat today. He's been out of the squad. Came into the squad injury replacement before the game against Bahrain, and now into the furnace, really, given the status of the game at the moment.
Tries to repeat dose, but again a mix-up in the running between the wickets. These small moments, those singles turned down, they can be very costly, Paul.
Yeah, it all adds in the count up at the end. These things are important, like that disputed 4 earlier on. I wonder if that's going to be important.
Thuds into the pad, angling down.
Close, did you not think?
No, angling down the leg side from my position. I'm more behind the bowlers.
More, yeah, you got more an umpire's eye view there.
10 overs gone, the halfway stage. The game is very tense indeed. 10 gone, 84 for 2.
TV's Apache RTR 204V.
आफ्नै जस्तो लाग्छ आफ्नै जस्तो लाग्छ
Yasuda, your complete home solution.
केही कुरामा पनि विश्वासिलो रहेनछ न बानी न पानी जता पनि चुइराख्ने
गुणस्तरीय टिकाउ तातो चिसो अनुकूल लिकेजको पक्का समाधान प्लम्बर CPVC pipes and fittings.
KNP अब KNP Nerolac, a subsidiary of Kansai Paints Japan.
Six bowlers used so far. The part-time medium pace of Mohammad Arif Sheikh came into the game because of the problems for Jitendra Mukia, despite taking the early wicket, and 13 runs coming off Abhinesh Bahara's first over. He's coming back now, and he's dispatched into the leg side for a maximum. Bahara is going the distance here, and that's causing real headaches, real problems for Sandeep Lamachani. The first ball of the over, pressure on the bowler from Mohammad Waseem.
You mentioned before, short boundary that way. Mohammad Waseem has hit 6s on far bigger fields than this one before, so that is just a tiny little pickup for him, really. He's played very well in the Abu Dhabi T10 down the years, which is played at Zayed Cricket Stadium. It's one of the biggest fields.
He's so strong on the leg side, isn't he? That tends to be where he regularly goes. This time he'll get a couple as it's come off the inside edge. Every ball is a moment here. Every ball is being lived.
He has actually got shots all around the wicket. I think you mentioned before, it's a little bit slow, this wicket, so it's probably easier hitting sort of across the line rather than forcing it through the offside.
That's where he tries to go, and third man is up in the circle. Real fortune this time for Waseem. Bahara is continuing to travel all around the park. This time it's through the offside for 4. The UAE, they're right on top. Their run rate's over 9 and over.
Luck's going their way as well, which is important. Oh, ugly swipe. Lucky edge over third man, 4 runs.
Suspect if third man was in place, that could well have been a catch down there at third man, but Bibek Yadav is up in the circle, and right now this is a side, a Nepali bowling lineup that has not conceded 100 yet in their 3 group games.
I reckon it's odds on they will concede 100 today.
Are you sure, Paul?
4 runs away from it.
Don't want you to make too many outlandish statements on air. Strange field now. Deep backward point comes into place. I think Bahar is going to go for the wide Yorkers. They're going to try and hide away the ball from the leg side from Wazim. Exactly where he goes.
On, yep. Call that one, Lenny.
Have to keep half an eye on the other game as well. Very difficult day for me. The two sides I'm probably most closely aligned to. My Irish boys are 73 for 2 after 9 overs against Oman. They lost the toss and were asked to bat first. They're recovering nicely through Delaney and Tector. The loss of Sterling and Balbirnie. Hadn't been quite Paul Sterling's tournament.
No, it's a surprise, bearing in mind he's come off that superb showing in the PSL to be here. Sorry, Lenny, can you just run me through again how you ended up commentating on this game rather than that one?
Very good question, Paul. I'm glad you brought up the topic. Thuds into the pad and Usman just loses his shape. Will be a leg by. Well, I felt it was a very unfair decision for me to have to make, so I said I want nothing to do with it. Someone else tell me where to go.
So who made that call?
Well, that was the production company.
Ah, right.
They said, we're going to toss a coin. Peter Della Penna goes to one ground. Lenny, you go off to another.
Okay.
And it came down. It was one of those Omani coins with daggers on one side, castles on the other. Landed with the daggers. Over I come to ground one. Get to talk to you today.
Perfectly happy with that, were you? It's a pretty momentous game, this one, to be fair. I suppose they both are, obviously.
Driven into the offside. Another good shot. He's going to get maximum reward with 4 more. The 100 comes up. It does come up in the 11th over. 11 on. It's been all the UAE. Can the Nepali bowlers find something? 102 for 2.
Apache RTR 204V.
आधुनिक तथा विशिष्ट ग्याल्बोलुम प्लान्टबाट उत्पादित जगदम्बा सुपर साइन तथा जगदम्बा ग्याल्बा प्लस जस्ता पाता
KNP अब KNP Nerolac, a subsidiary of Kansai Paints, Japan.
आमाको हात अमृतको स्वाद
विगत 45 वर्षदेखि अमृत तेल नै हो अमृत.
There's big problems, big headaches for Sandeep Lamchani, this young captain. He's found one of the 2 wickets. And Dipendra Singh Airi will continue. He's got 3 overs left. These will be crucial overs. Chipped and dropped. Gyanendra Malla has put down Mohammad Usman. Wasn't quite regulation the chance, but he got both hands to it. Probably should have held on.
Well, I don't think this was the most difficult chance you'll see, to be honest, especially not with the high standards of this Nepal fielding unit. Chipped up. Nah, it's got to be taking those. Big let off for you, that was.
Hit back to Irie. He's not going to miss field off his own bowling. This game here, it's not just feeling tense now. It's feel tense throughout. Is there any way back into the game for Nepal from here? They're going to be staying down a very large total.
Well, I don't think they should be panicking, because I think it'll be difficult defending on this ground. Mentioned that short boundary a number of times. Pitch is pretty true. I don't think it's panic stations just yet.
Down the ground towards Bibek Yadav, just be a single. I think they need to bowl as much as possible to Mohammad Usman in a funny way. It might not have been the most costly chance to drop, because strike rate in and around 70 at the moment. They'll be happy with that. Irie's been very effective bat ball and in the field. Yeah, that shorter boundary from the far end of the ground, that could be crucial in any run chase.
Yeah, I think so. Just as you talk about Usman there, yeah, 9 or 14 would have already been feeling under pressure before the game started. He's usually good at rotating the strike, but as you mentioned, not the fastest two runners between the wickets.
Every dot critical. It's just bringing and pull back into it. Dropped chance from Gyanendra Malla in that over. 12 gone. 106 for 2.
The TV is Apache RTR 204V.
The best. Saurya Cement.
KNP अब KNP Nerolac, a subsidiary of Kansai Paints Japan.
प्रस्तुत छ ज्यास्मिन र बदामको तेलको पोषणयुक्त लक्स, जसले हरेक स्नान बनाउँछ पोषणयुक्त। अब पाउनुहोस् पोषणयुक्त चम्किलो त्वचा, प्रयोग गर्नुहोस् लक्स हरेक दिन।
So, 12 overs gone. UAE 106 for 2. Listed on our initial sheets, it's Basil Hamid in next 5 and Rohan Mustafa all the way down at 6, but it's been a pretty flexible order for the Emirati side in this tournament.
Yeah, I think they will stick with that because Basil Hamid, as you just mentioned, Usman's scoring rate's a little bit low at the moment. And Basil Hamid is a big hitter. He scored 60 off 30 odd in the one-day international series that preceded the quadrangular series that preceded this tournament. He's been in form on this tour.
Such are the issues for the Nepali bowling attack. They're going to have to go back to their main strike bowler, Kamal Singh Airi, and use up one of his 2 remaining overs as early as the 13th. Paul, I think it's fair to say we've got the 4 best sides in the tournament playing out for spots in Australia 2022.
Yeah, I think so. In actual fact, these are the 4 teams that play the quadrangular, aren't they? Before the series. So, back then you thought they were the 4 best equipped teams. Perhaps Canada at one stage in the tournament made it seem like they would join that group, but the way the game's panned out, I think definitely fair to say we got the 4 strongest teams left, and a couple of tense games going on as well on both sides of the Oman Cricket Academy.
Well, Gareth Delaney has just gone 6-6-6 off Zishan Maqsood, maybe putting that game in Ireland's favour. Picked up, and that's going to go not just for 6, that's going to stop play on the other oval. We're going to have a break in play in that Ireland-Oman game because somebody's going to have to go and get that ball. It's not just gone onto the pitch, it's gone into the other pitch's 30-yard circle, the biggest hit of the tournament, and it belongs to Mohammed Wasim, who brings up his 50.
Massive 6. Bilal Khan had to field that square leg on the other field and relay it back. They've had 3 goes chucking it back, and it's got back to the bowler now. That's how huge it was.
Such a dangerous player, Mohammed Wasim. 54 has come from just 32 deliveries. He's accelerated hugely since the dismissal of Aravind. 4 6s and 3 4s. Going to try and repeat the dose, but doesn't get it out of the middle, so it'll just be a single. The overs at that end of the ground, the Oman LNG end of the ground, are becoming a big issue, and there's more to come from that end for Nepal.
I think, as you mentioned before, bring back the main strike bowler for an over now. You've just got to assume logic would be to just get your best bowlers at that end and just hope that they perform, because it's really difficult defending that side.
Hit into the leg side, probably just going to be a single because straight to Bahara. Paul, you've covered cricket in the UAE for quite a long time now, a decade or so, I believe. Is this the strongest side you've ever seen from the UAE under the leadership of Ahmed Raza?
I wouldn't necessarily say so. No, they've probably had about 3 incarnations of the team in the time that I've been covering it. Originally with the great Kuram Khan as captain. So there's definitely different profile to this team. It's a lot younger.
Goes for the Yorker, Kamal Singh Airi. Wazim will keep the strike. It's another expensive over. Plenty of the overs with more than 10 runs coming from them. 117 for 2.
Introducing the TVS Apache RTR 204V, engineered to adapt.
आधुनिक तथा विशिष्ट ग्याल्बोलुम प्लान्टबाट उत्पादित जगदम्बा सुपर साइन तथा जगदम्बा ग्याल्बा प्लस जस्ता पाता
आमाको हात अमृतको स्वाद
विगत 45 वर्षदेखि अमृत तेल नै हो अमृत
लिटमस केबल क्वालिटीमा नम्बर 1 हुनको राज हो एडभान्स जर्मन टेक्नोलोजी लिटमस केबल क्वालिटीमा नम्बर 1
So, 2 absolutely critical overs here. Sandeep Lamachani will continue from the Oman tail end of the ground. He needs to get Mohammad Wazim out. It's that simple. Starts with the leg break. And Wazim might be best served to not attack these 2 overs.
Yeah, I must be honest, it's looked that way the whole time he's played him, actually. He's been very watchful, hasn't taken any risks against Lamachani. Obviously, pretty savvy way to play it.
Leg break speared in. I think it'll just be 1. Guyanendra Malla seems to be everywhere today. Wherever the ball is hit, keeps going to the former captain.
Yes, Usman, 10 off 16 balls so far on strike now. He's obviously got the short boundary now, and if Lamachani's bowling a leg break, he'd be playing with the spin. Is it time for him to
be lots
have
of googlies here as well, I suspect. That's the googly picked up into the sky. There should be a chance. Fine leg fielder comes round and puts down the second drop from Nepal. I believe it's Jitendra Mukhya. It is. Don't think he's even laid a hand on it, Paul.
I've got to be honest, that's pretty poor cricket from the batter. It's not a brilliant shot. Googly playing against the spin, that's fine though, because if it's full enough up there, he can still have a dart at that. But he was watching the ball the whole time. When the ball was dropped, he was halfway down the wicket.
In a funny way, I know this is going to sound counterintuitive. If it was the drop of Wazim, it would have been huge, but because it's Usman who's struggled so badly,
no, I agree.
It's actually not really harming Nepal. If anything, it's kind of harming the UAE.
Yeah, it is, yeah. You pointed that out an over or 2 ago. I think he's got to take a risk this over. They've got strong players to come. Basil Hamid, Zawar Farid, and like you said, Kashif Daud.
Googly again, beautifully bowled. Really good over. 4 singles from it. Should have been the wicket. Wasn't to be. 14 gone. UAE have 6 left. 1-2-1 for 2.
Introducing the TVS Apache RTR 204V, engineered to adapt.
लिटमस केबल क्वालिटीमा नम्बर 1 हुनको राज हो एडभान्स जर्मन टेक्नोलोजी लिटमस केबल क्वालिटीमा नम्बर 1
बेस्ट चाहनुहुनेहरूको लागि द बेस्ट मात्र उपलब्ध गराउँदै द बेस्ट सौर्य सिमेन्ट
KNP अब KNP Nerolac, a subsidiary of Kansai Paints Japan.
Dipender Singh Airi, it's going to be to bowl 2 of the toughest overs from the Oman LNG end. At least he's got Wazim to bowl to. Heaved into the leg side. Mohammad Usman's innings is going nowhere really right now.
Keep getting distracted on this field by wickets on the other field. These pitches, these grounds here in Oman are so close together. I'd imagine, Lenny, there are no international cricket grounds that are close together than these 2.
Windhoek, Namibia, pretty close as well. Great spot.
The gap between Afis and Wanderers, I reckon, is bigger than this one. There's a car park. There's a car park in the way. I think ICC Academy in Dubai probably would be the closest rival.
The same, yeah, pretty much the same setup. But it's a wonderful facility here in Muscat. There's danger here for Dipender Singh Airi. He's coming around the wicket. It's a 55-yard boundary hitting with the wind. Mohammad Wasim is going to be looking to hit this into the pavilion, onto the balcony. Clever bowl, hides it away miles outside the off stump.
Something that I can imagine later in the game when UAE are defending, you see Rahan Mustafa doing something very similar to that delivery, trying to hit that wide line, obviously just inside it. Rather than that,
it's such
a long way outside it.
It's almost a tightrope, isn't it? You walk as a bowler. If you get it anywhere into the hitting arc, you're going to be dispatched. There, at least, he's got him hitting towards where there's some protection.
Yeah.
Long off and long on.
The thinking's good. The thinking was good there.
Two wickets. I think it's in 2 balls on the other pitch. Tector and Tucker dismissed. Speared in and heaved into the deep. I don't think Mohammad Usman has timed a single ball out there.
No, he's funnily enough, just before the game, he was having throwdowns just in front of where we are here in the media zone from Robin Singh, the UAE coach, and he wasn't timing many of those either, to be honest.
Going to be runs through the offside. Too predictable, perhaps, from Dipender Singh Airi. No maximums in the over, but it's a boundary 4 to finish it. And it comes behind square on the offside. The diving effort. I think it's Bibek Yadav who couldn't cut it off. And look at this, right out towards the wide line. He knew it was going there. And he's so strong, not just on the leg side, on the offside as well. That'll get us to the end of the 15th, 1-3-1 for 2.
Introducing the TVS Apache RTR 204V, engineered to adapt.
जगदम्बा सुपर साइन तथा जगदम्बा ग्याल्बा प्लस जस्ता पाता
आमाको हात अमृतको स्वाद
विगत 45 वर्षदेखि अमृत तेल नै हो अमृत।
बिमारीसँग लड्नु छ भने बिमार फैलाउने भाइरससँग लड्नुस् जुन छुँदाखेरि पनि फैलिन्छ। त्यसैले बारम्बार लाइफ बोय भाइरस फाइटर यसले भाइरससँग लड्छ र तपाईलाई सुरक्षा गर्छ। संसारकै नम्बर 1 सेलिङ जम्प प्रोटेक्सन सोप ब्रान्ड।
Abhinesh Bahara, Mukaya, Arif Sheikh, they're all going at double-digit economy rates. It's only really himself and Dipender Singh Airi who've given any control. Big hit attempted into the leg side. Hasn't got enough of it. Again, not out of the middle from Mohammad Usman. And despite the ricochet off the direct hit, it'll only be a single. Paul, one of the issues of leaving Kushal Malla out takes away your third spin option. How often do we see Nepal without a left-arm spinner?
Yeah, obviously they breed left-arms. A bit like UAE, actually. Loads of left-armers in both countries. It is unusual and it limits Lamachani's options.
And whilst I don't have the exact numbers as they get through for a single, I suspect the strike rates against pace have been significantly higher across the tournament than against spin.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see that, wouldn't it? I think you might be right on that one. Just not a huge amount in it for even in the 10 o'clock games, to be honest. On a fresh wicket, there wasn't a huge amount in it for the quicks.
Picked up into the leg side and short of the man. Usman is timing the ball so poorly, he's not even picking out the men in the deep.
Yeah, reaching that point where you're thinking, do we retire him out?
Something Tim Wigmore has spoken a bit about. The
Guardian. Think of Tim Wigmore.
The Guardian, Julius. Is there actually an argument to retire a batter? They're struggling, beautifully bowled. And I think this is clever cricket from Mohammad Wasim. He's saying, I've got 2 more balls after this one to get through from Lamachani, and then I'm going to smash everything in the last 4.
Yeah, that looks like what he's got planned, but it just bears mentioning how brilliantly I think Lamachani's bowled here. I think he's just shown his class in this innings so far.
probably should have had the second wicket of his spell in his previous over, that of Mohammed Usman. But two very contrasting innings from the two Mohammeds. One 67 off 45, the other 16 off 22. Another Irish wicket falls across to our left. They're 5 down now against Oman. Such tension. Look at those celebrations there. Oman on home soil. They'll be difficult to get past for Ireland. Picked up into the leg side again. No rhythm at all. Paul Radley, I want to thank you so much for joining me. Might hear from you in the second innings.
Thanks, Lenny. Might see you later.
16 gone. 136 for 2.
Introducing the TV's Apache RTR 204V, engineered to adapt.
The best Saudi cement.
विगत 45 वर्षदेखि अमृत तेल नै हो अमृत।
बिमारीसँग लड्नु छ भने बिमार फैलाउने भाइरससँग लड्नुस्, जुन छुँदाखेरि पनि फैलिन्छ। त्यसैले बारम्बार लाइफ बोय भाइरस फाइटर, यसले भाइरससँग लड्छ र तपाईलाई सुरक्षा गर्छ। संसारकै नम्बर 1 सेलिङ जर्म प्रोटेक्सन सोप ब्रान्ड।
KNP अब KNP Nerolac, a subsidiary of Kansai Paints Japan.
Chani from the Oman LNG end of the ground, the far end of the ground. And he's going to go back to his death specialist, Abanesh Bahara, to bowl the 17th and the 19th overs, you'd have to think, the two remaining overs from that end of the ground. But he's gone at 15 and over. 2 overs, none for 30. Usman has found nothing in his knock so far, though. He's going to try and find something here. And Bahara is actually going to get him out because he's picked out the man in the deep, Gyanendra Malla. He dropped him earlier. And the way Usman was going, who knows, he might have been better served keeping him in by just a touch. Bahara has a wicket, and finally the Nepali fans have something to cheer. These last 4 overs are going to be critical. If Nepal can finish well and keep the UAE to under 170, they'll still have a chance. If Wasim keeps going, it could be game over. Good catch held in the deep by Malla. And Usman departs for a very difficult 17 from 24 deliveries. The score 136 for 3.
विगत 45 वर्षदेखि अमृत तेल नै हो अमृत।
बिमारीसँग लड्नु छ भने बिमार फैलाउने भाइरससँग लड्नुस्, जुन छुँदाखेरि पनि फैलिन्छ। त्यसैले बारम्बार लाइफ बोय भाइरस फाइटर, यसले भाइरससँग लड्छ र तपाईलाई सुरक्षा गर्छ। संसारकै नम्बर 1 सेलिङ जर्म प्रोटेक्सन सोप ब्रान्ड।
प्रस्तुत छ ज्यास्मिन र बदामको तेलको पोषणयुक्त लक्स, जसले हरेक स्नान बनाउँछ पोषणयुक्त। अब पाउनुहोस् पोषणयुक्त चम्किलो त्वचा। प्रयोग गर्नुहोस् लक्स हरेक दिन।
So Basil Hamid, it's going to be at number 5. Any temptation for the UAE to promote Kashif Daud up the order, who is seen as a big late hitter for the UAE, has been resisted. But Mohammed Wasim has been outstanding, and he's going to pick up a second, get back on strike after the misfield in the deep. Arif Sheikh is going to run over and switch with, I think it's his skipper, isn't it? Sandeep Lamachani, who's misfielded that one. A deep extra. Bahara, so difficult here because he's known as bowling a brilliant Yorker. But if he misses that by an inch, you think Wasim's going to pongo him for 6. Oh, inside edge. Good diving stop from Asif Sheikh. Probably saves 3 runs. That would have been very difficult for Asif Sheikh because the ball was angling away. So his body movement would have been going to his right, and then the ball off an under edge, the inside edge, went to his left. So he's done pretty well to get something, not just to slow down the pace and keep it to just a single. Here comes Basil Hamid for his first delivery, facing up to Abanesh Bahara. Just be a single. There's a deep backward point out. That's Guy Endramala. I think he's fielded as many balls as the rest of the Nepali side together. The ball just following him. Hit into the sky. There's a field right there. This could be a mass moment. It's taken. Huge for Avanesh Bahara. Huge for Nepal. Arif Sheikh holds his nerve. He just switched with his skipper, who's out there at deep extra cover. And that's brilliant bowling because Wasim has had to hit that into the wind to the larger boundary. And Nepal, they are fighting back late in the first innings. 2 wickets in the over. This one's the big one. Mohammad Wasim is gone. Hides it away, miles outside the off stump. A good catch held, 5 yards off the rope. Arif Sheikh knows how big that is. He looks up to his fans and to his former skipper, gets the high five. Great knock from Wasim. He's gone for 70. It's 140 for 4.
Introducing the TV's Apache RTR 204V, engineered to adapt.
जापानको सर्वोत्कृष्ट हेल्दी होम पेन्ट केएनपी तपाईहरुको अथाह मायाले गर्दा केएनपी अब भएको छ केएनपी नेरोल्याक KNP अब KNP Nerolac, a subsidiary of Kansai Paints, Japan.
Quick single run by Kashif Daud will close out the 17th over. 2 wickets in it. Exactly what Nepal needed. 17 gone, 141 for 4.
The TV is Apache RTR 204V.
आमाको हात अमृतको स्वाद
विगत 45 वर्षदेखि अमृत तेल नै हो अमृत।
प्रस्तुत छ ज्यास्मिन र बदामको तेलको पोषण युक्त लक्स, जसले हरेक स्नान बनाउँछ पोषण युक्त। अब पाउनुहोस् पोषण युक्त चम्किलो त्वचा, प्रयोग गर्नुहोस् लक्स हरेक दिन।
This just gives Paul some chance. I think UAE are definitely ahead of the game. Remember, the batting is probably their side's strength, and they've only picked 2 spinners today. They've left the young leg spinner out, and I think both sides may be misreading the wicket. Both could have done with an extra spin option, but with 3 to go, if the Nepali bowlers can close out this innings well, they'll give themselves some chance. Keep the total under 165, maybe even under 160 if things go brilliantly well. But for the UAE, they're going to be thinking north of 170 still. Here comes Mukia. Going to be in the wickets. Mukia strikes. He finds his second. It's a good catch, clung onto, diving away to his right. That third man up in the circle. And Basil Hamid is now dismissed, and the UAE have lost 3 wickets in the space of 7 balls. Just trying to see who took the catch. It was a good diving effort. Right on the money from Mukia, again hiding the ball away outside the off stump. And he's held on really well. It's Bibek Yadav who's taken the catch. Just the finish to this innings that Nepal needed. Hamid's gone for 2, 1 for 1 for 5.
मसँग छ कपन्जा को हो यो केही कुरामा पनि विश्वासिलो रहेनछ न बानी न पानी जता पनि चुइराख्ने मैले जानेछु। हेलो
हजुर भन्नुस् त।
यहाँ केही कुरा मर्मत गर्नु छ, छिट्टै आउनु पर्यो।
प्लम्बर CPVC पाइप्स एन्ड फिटिङ्स गुणस्तरीय टिकाउ तातो चिसो अनुकूल लिकेजको पक्का समाधान।
यो म्यासेज वाला लिकेजको नि केही समाधान छ कि?
प्लम्बर CPVC पाइप्स एन्ड फिटिङ्स विश्वास प्लम्बिङको।
Staffer back, right into the block hole, dug out. Every ball here is critical. Despite the little fumble from Lamachani, they won't get a second. Farid gets off the mark. 16 deliveries left. Can Nepal close this out really well? If they can somehow put in their very best, keep the UAE to less than 160, even 165, that keeps them in the game. If they run away with things, get up over 175, maybe a bridge too far. Right into the block hole, hit straight to Lamachani, picks up cleanly, direct hit, wouldn't have been out. And Mukia just indicates, don't worry, skipper. Happy with singles. Singles are okay now. In fact, with 15 balls left, if you offered Mukia and Lamachani 15 singles, they'd take it. They'd say, we'll take 158 from the positions that the UAE have been in. Magnificent innings, devastating innings from both Mohammad Wasim and young Veritia Aravind, the tournament's leading run scorer. I put the UAE into a very strong position. But fighting back, oh, Mukia, he looks back. He didn't know whether that would be signalled as a wide or not. In all the excitement, I haven't even told you who our two umpires are here yet today. My apologies for that. It's not just tense on the pitch, it's tense up in the commentary box, I can assure you as well. Rahul Asher and Vinod Babu, the two Omani umpires, are standing here. And it's actually three Omani umpires with Hari Krishna Pillai rounding things out. He's the third umpire, the match referee, of course, again, Mohammed Javed Malik. Hit down the ground. It's got more than enough of that. It's going to cannon in to the media centre. Lovely shot from Farid, who held his shape perfectly. That's the problem. You miss the block hole, it turns into a beautiful slot delivery to smash, and that's exactly what Farid did. That's why he's been sent in instead of Rohan Mustafa. The 150 comes up. Still more than 2 overs left. I think the UAE will be thinking of 175. That's what they'll want. Might even get to 180 if they finish really strongly. Down the leg side, 4 more. Kia's radar has not been at its best today. All of these moments, these little bursts, 10 runs in 2 deliveries, are critical. Just as the Nepali bowlers had got themselves into the game with those 3 wickets in 7 deliveries, 10 runs in 2 balls sends it back towards the UAE. Picked up into the leg side. Gyanendra Malla catches a stunner. That is the catch of the tournament, and it's come from the former skipper who's been everywhere in the first innings. Take a look at this, not just clinging on, but also somehow holding his composure just inches from the rope. A sensational catch of the highest quality. Going to take a look at the replay of this. This is outstanding. Wasn't a good delivery again. It was there to be hit for Farid, but he's picked out Gyanendra Malla, who's not just caught it, but also tossed it back up to himself, and he points to the umpires with one finger. He says that's out. The Nepali fans, they love it. At the end of the 18th over, the score is 154 for 6.
Introducing the TVS Apache RTR 204V, engineered to adapt.
The best, Saurya Cement.
जापानको सर्वोत्कृष्ट हेल्दी होम पेन्ट KNP तपाईहरूको अथाह मायाले गर्दा केएनपी अब भएको छ केएनपी नेरोल्याक। केएनपी अब केएनपी नेरोल्याक, a subsidiary of Kansai Paints Japan.
आमाको हात अमृतको स्वाद।
विगत 45 वर्षदेखि अमृत तेल नै हो अमृत।
Introducing the TVS Apache RTR 204V, engineered to adapt.
Two to go. Finally, Rohan Mustafa gets to the crease. Not sure that one needed to be thrown by defender Singh-Iri, possibly risking an overthrow. Mustafa safely home. He gets off the mark. Kashif Daud, he possesses big long levers and he hits a very big ball. He struck Mark Adair for 23 runs from the final over in the opening group game where the UAE, they beat Ireland. He'll be looking to target the exact same area into that pavilion, hidden away right on the blue wide line. And the umpire extends his arms. He says, that's a wide. It's a game of cat and mouse here. Bahara is going to want to put nothing into the hitting arc, in towards the stumps or even outside the off stump. He wants everything out, full and wide outside the off stump. And again, another wide. Free runs for the UAE. Gone at the hopes of 165 or so. Of restricting the UAE to that. It's going to be more like 175, you suspect. Might be more than that if Kashif Daud gets going. Good field. 2 runs saved. Kushal Bertel, he's had a few issues with his groin. Hasn't affected his batting. His batting has been magnificent, but he's not at 100% fitness. And I think it's too big a gap that they've left between long on and deep mid-wicket. That man deep mid-wicket, he needs to come much straighter. He needs to come more towards cow corner. Only 4 men on the leg side. Kashif Daud goes down the ground, doesn't get all of it. Will just be a single to bring Mustafa on to strike. Remarkable to think that Mustafa, who particularly in the quadrangular he's used in the top order, often batting at number 3 or number 4 for the UAE, hidden away all the way down at number 8 today. 9 deliveries remain. What can the UAE post? They're probably still thinking of 180 now. Boundaries critical. But Mustafa just punches it into the onside. He wants a second, but Daud doesn't. Daud wants to take on Bahara here. The reason for that, it's the shorter boundary, hitting with the wind. It's a very strong wind, the strongest certainly of the qualifier by a distance on a day that's much cooler than yesterday. Not the 30-degree heat that we felt yesterday, about 24 degrees. And drama aplenty over the course of the next 90 minutes. Hit into the sky and straight to Sandeep Lamachani. The plan works from Avanesh Bahara, hiding the ball away out at the wide line. That's a big wicket. Daud's late penetration with the bat isn't going to come to fruition. And he is going to be dismissed. Good catch held by Sandeep Lamachani right on the edge of the circle. Here's the replay. Let's take a look. Didn't pick it up, and a good catch held by Lamachani. Nepal, they're taking wickets. It's stemming the run rate. 1-6-1-7. Daud's gone for 4.
The destination may be one, but do the roads that leads there needs to be the same? With a press of a button, the bike adapts to any situation. A versatile race machine. Introducing the TVS Apache RTR 204V, engineered to adapt.
Ahmed Raza. The captain comes in, picks one up into the leg side, and he picks it up exactly where I said that fielder should be. He needed to be at cow corner, not at deep mid-wicket. Far too square, and it's ended up costing a boundary from the very final ball. Avanesh Bahara's spell expensive today. He's gone at nearly 12 and over. The fielder's just got the wrong angle. It would have been straight to cow corner, would have been a catch. Instead, it's 6-5 for 7 after 19.
Introducing the TVS Apache RTR 204V, engineered to adapt.
KNP अब KNP Nerolac, a subsidiary of Kansai Paints, Japan.
जगदम्बा सुपर साइन तथा जगदम्बा ग्याल्बा प्लस जस्ता पाटा
Bombers CPVC pipes and fittings. गुणस्तरीय, टिकाऊ, तातो चिसो अनुकूल, लिकेजको पक्का समाधान.
यो म्यासेज वाला लिकेजको नि केही समाधान छ कि?
Plumber CPVC pipes and fittings. विश्वास प्लम्बिङ को.
बिमारीसँग लड्नु छ भने बिमार फैलाउने भाइरससँग लड्नुस्, जुन छुँदाखेरि पनि फैलिन्छ। त्यसैले बारम्बार लाइफ बोय भाइरस फाइटर, यसले भाइरससँग लड्छ र तपाईलाई सुरक्षा गर्छ। संसारकै नम्बर 1 सेलिङ जर्म प्रोटेक्सन सोप ब्रान्ड।
Ireland 147 for 6. Rebuilding despite the loss of Balbirnie and Sterling. And here on the main oval, on what looks like a pretty good batting wicket, the UAE have been excellent. Nepal have fought back in the second half of this innings, but already feels like they might have an above par total. Kamal Singh Ari gets that right into the block hole, and Mustafa won't be able to get back for the second. Bring Ahmed Raza, his skipper, on to strike. Both sides have gone with just 2 frontline spin options today. For Nepal, it's been just their captain and vice-captain, Lamachani and Dipendra Singh Airi. And it'll be the same for the UAE. The 2 men at the crease, they'll bowl the 8 overs of spin. Ahmed Raza and Rohan Mustafa. For me, really surprising to see. I think both sides have slightly misread the pitch. Remember, Kushal Malla missed out for Nepal, and no signs of Sagar Dakal yet either. Hasn't actually played in this qualifier yet. Did play in the quadrangular. Irie's going to come around the wicket to Raza. And he gets the Yorker in perfectly. And Rohan Mustafa, he's just shown by Asif Sheikh. He says, I've only got 1 glove on, and I will run you out. You try to take me on and run the bye, I'm going to run you out. Great to see from Asif Sheikh. He's caught the attention of the world of cricket. His magical moment in that quadrangular series. Touching spirit of cricket moment. 35 million views. That's had all around the world. 35 million. Sending Oman to the world. This one's hit down the ground, no timing, and Kamal Singh Ari more than happy with that. Singles are okay here. He's had an excellent tournament. The young man who's come into this Nepali side with the sheer weight of wickets in the Everest Premier League. He's taken 5 in this tournament, an economy of under 6, which is really good. Good numbers from him. Mustafa picks it up, almost one-handed, gets miles enough of it. Sends some of the Canadian players scurrying. Who are watching on. And that's the advantage of the left-hander. He's got the shorter side to the leg side with the wind to hit with. A big hit for 6. Here it is. Look at that. He lost one hand off the bat. I thought he was going to lose the bat entirely for a moment. But he's got more than enough of it to send. Nearly hits one of the Canadian players on the head who's watching on the other game. They're watching on the Oman versus Ireland action. They would have loved to have been involved there themselves, but their heavy defeat to an inspired Nepali team yesterday meant they were knocked out. 2 balls left. Slower ball, it's the cutter. Good bravery. Asif Sheikh misses, and they will get the bye. He can't believe it. He'd taken the glove off specially. He tucked it into the back of his pants to not allow them to run the bye. A direct hit would have been out. Instead, Raza gets through, and they do run one by. So, one ball left. It's going to be in and around that 175 mark we speculated about a long time ago. Can Ahmed Raza get the UAE up to 180? He's going to try to, with a big heave into the leg side. They will possibly run the second, but it's not going to be possible. And Rohan Mustafa stays in his crease. It's going to be 175 exactly. And that means that the Nepali side are going to need to post their highest total of the tournament outside of that match against the Philippines. They're going to rely very heavily upon Kushal Bertel and Dipender Singh Airi. You'd have to think they don't look overly pleased with their bowling effort. You can understand why. It's the most they've conceded in this event. A really good batting effort led by Mohammad Wasim and Varitya Aravind. And then you can see the Nepali side, they are coming into their huddle. And Sandeep Lamachani will just be saying to his team, 176 and we go to Australia. That's what we need. We can do this.
Introducing the TVS Apache RTR 204V, engineered to adapt.
The best Saurya cement.
आमाको हात अमृतको स्वाद
विगत 45 वर्षदेखि अमृत तेल नै हो अमृत
KNP अब KNP Nerolac, a subsidiary of Kansai Paints Japan.
The destination may be one, but do the roads that leads there needs to be the same? With a press of a button, the bike adapts to any situation. A versatile race machine. Introducing the TVS Apache RTR 204V, engineered to adapt.
जापानको सर्वोत्कृष्ट हेल्दी होम पेन्ट KNP तपाईहरुको अथाह मायाले गर्दा KNP अब भएको छ KNP Nerolac. KNP अब KNP Nerolac, a subsidiary of Kansai Paints Japan.
बेस्ट चाहनुहुनेहरुको लागि द बेस्ट मात्र उपलब्ध गराउँदै द बेस्ट सौर्य सिमेन्ट.
मसँग छ कपन्जा को हो यो केही कुरामा पनि विश्वासिलो रहेनछ न बानी न पानी जता पनि चुई राख्ने मैले जानेछु हेलो
हजुर भन्नुस् त
यहाँ केही कुरा मर्मत गर्नु छ छिट्टै आउनु पर्यो
Plumbers CPVC pipes and fittings गुणस्तरीय टिकाउ तातो चिसो अनुकूल लिकेजको पक्का समाधान.
यो म्यासेज वाला लिकेजको नि केही समाधान छ कि?
Plumbers CPVC pipes and fittings विश्वास प्लम्बिङ को.
जापानको सर्वोत्कृष्ट हेल्दी होम पेन्ट KNP तपाईहरुको अथाह मायाले गर्दा KNP अब भएको छ KNP Nerolac. KNP अब KNP Nerolac, a subsidiary of Kansai Paints Japan.
Introducing the TVS Apache RTR 204V, engineered to adapt.
आधुनिक तथा विशिष्ट ग्याल्बोलुम प्लान्टबाट उत्पादित जगदम्बा सुपर साइन तथा जगदम्बा ग्याल्बा प्लस जस्ता पाता
The best. Saurya Cement.
The destination may be one, but do the roads that leads there needs to be the same? With a press of a button, the bike adapts.
भएको छ KNP Nerolac. KNP अब KNP Nerolac, a subsidiary of Kansai Paints Japan.
Crucial Bertel, the leading run scorer for Nepal, is on strike. Here we go. Floods into the pad, angling down the leg side. You'd have to suspect umpire doesn't have too much interest, and he walks. He says height as well. It's Rahul Asher, one of the two standing umpires. So here we go. Can Nepal do it? Their bowling and their fielding has been their strength so far, but today it's going to have to be batting. They need 176 at very nearly 9 and over, and that will be the highest score in their history of run chases. They've only chased more than 150 once, I believe. That was against Singapore, thanks to Paris Kadka in the Tri-Series pre-pandemic. That was when Paris Kadka made that historic century. 106 not out. Leg by will get the Nepali account moving. Very welcome along to the chase. This game is going to be nervy. It's going to be very tense, but one thing that shake and tell is ensure that they get off to a strong start. We've just had an issue with our camera at the far end of the ground. We'll have to get that one fixed up, bringing the action from behind the batter for the moment. Mohammad Asif Sheikh on strike for the first time. Pick-up shot attempted into the leg side, no contact made. Yeah, the Nepali batting's been overly reliant upon two men, Kushal Bertel and Dipendra Singh Airi. They've been the only two to show any consistency, really. That record third wicket partnership that came against the Philippines. 171 they put on, the highest partnership of the tournament. But outside of that, the batters haven't been going particularly well. Down the leg side, that will be signalled as a wide, despite the attempts from Siddiqui to convince the umpire otherwise. Bertel's made 143 runs in the tournament, Airi 121. The next best for Nepal is all the way down at 38, and that's Asif Sheikh. That's the man on strike at the moment, the keeper batter. So you'd have to think that Bertel and Airi, one of those two is going to have to fire. One of those two will need to make a big 50, 70 plus, maybe even more, to get the side in red and blue into this chase against the men in grey. UAE, they're on top now. Another leg side wide. Bertel won't run the single. Still won't, despite the direct hit from Aravind. It doesn't deflect. He just hurt himself as well there, Aravind. Interestingly, it's his right hand he's hurt, so I think maybe slightly overrunning the ball as it's strayed down the leg side. There are a couple of keeping options for the UAE, of course, but they've gone with the youngster because Bhuta has been left out of the squad due to injury. So Aravind is not just the leading run scorer, also has work to do with the wicket-keeping gloves on and the floppy hat on his head. Down the leg side, but given Asif Sheikh felt that was going to angle down, Junaid Siddiqui went up with a big appeal. And the UAE have struck. They've struck early. No runs have come off the bat yet, just the extras. And Asif Sheikh is dismissed for just one, trying to target that shorter side of the ground. That's exactly the start that Nepal did not want. They've lost one of their openers, LBW, trapped LBW by Junaid Siddiqui. Let's take a look at this. He just walked across his stumps, hasn't he? Maybe that is going to go on and cannon into maybe leg stump. Sheikh's gone for a duck. Nepal 3 for 1.
The TV is Apache RTR 204V.
Amako अमृतको स्वाद
विगत 45 वर्षदेखि अमृत तेल नै हो अमृत।
नेहा
यति धेरै बच्चाहरू एब्सेन्ट।
बिमारी जुन फैलिरहेको छ एकबाट अर्कोलाई कसरी लड्ने?
बिमारीसँग लड्नु छ भने बिमार फैलाउने भाइरससँग लड्नुस्, जुन छुँदाखेरि पनि फैलिन्छ। त्यसैले बारम्बार लाइफ बोय भाइरस फाइटर, यसले भाइरससँग लड्छ र तपाईलाई सुरक्षा गर्छ। संसारकै नम्बर 1 सेलिङ जर्म प्रोटेक्सन सोप ब्रान्ड।
Has been sent in. He's doing 2 wickets and 2 balls. The youngster promoted up the order to power hit. Targets the short side, pays the price. Junaid Siddiqui has 2 and 2, and it's all going horribly wrong. Not the start that Nepal needed. 2 wickets to Siddiqui. He's been bounced out, beaten for pace a little bit, Lokesh Bam, the youngster. And he's gone for a first ball duck. Still no runs off the bat. An audacious shot from his first delivery. A simple catch from Mohammad Wasim. Nepal are 3 for 2.
JRTR 204V.
आमाको हात अमृतको स्वाद
विगत 45 वर्षदेखि अमृत तेल नै हो अमृत।
नेहा
यति धेरै बच्चाहरू एब्सेन्ट।
बिमारी जुन फैलिरहेको छ एकबाट अर्कोलाई कसरी लड्ने?
बिमारीसँग लड्नु छ भने बिमार फैलाउने भाइरससँग लड्नुस्, जुन छुँदाखेरि पनि फैलिन्छ। त्यसैले बारम्बार लाइफ बोय भाइरस फाइटर, यसले भाइरससँग लड्छ र तपाईलाई सुरक्षा गर्छ। संसारकै नम्बर 1 सेलिङ जर्म प्रोटेक्सन सोप ब्रान्ड।
Dipendra Singh Airi to the crease. The vice captain has come in with his side in huge trouble. Ahmed Raza is going to go into slip. And the hat-trick ball is kept out by Dipendra Singh Airi, but a disastrous start to the chase. 2 wickets have gone in the first over, and it's still 3 for 2.
Introducing the TVS Apache RTR 204V, engineered to adapt.
KNP अब KNP Nerolac, a subsidiary of Kansai Paints Japan.
जगदम्बा सुपर साइन तथा जगदम्बा ग्याल्बा प्लस जस्ता पाता
आमाको हात अमृतको स्वाद
विगत 45 वर्षदेखि अमृत तेल नै हो अमृत।
They'll end the ground, one of this pace trio for the UAE. And Nepal are yet to strike a ball off the bat for any runs. 3 runs from the first over all came from extras, 2 wides. And it is a very tall mountain to climb. Imagine one of those beautiful peaks in the Himalayas. That's where this young side needs to go. And they've got the 2 men at the crease who can do it. Kushal Bertel and Dipendra Singh Airi being the pick of the batters by a distance. They're going to have to show it here. Finally, some runs off the bat. Bertel gets off the mark into the leg side. Fans will be watching nervously. 30 million watching on from across Nepal and hoping and praying. Got so many messages last night. Fans not able to sleep. The sheer excitement, the emotion. They love and live every ball of their national side's performance there in Nepal, and right now they're going to be devastated, shell-shocked in fact, but there's still time to get back into the game. About 9 and over, and their 2 best batters at the crease. Down the track, Dipendra Singh Airi from his very first delivery So quick between the wickets. I think he was home even with the direct hit. He'll get off the mark. But I think that was a definite decision from Pabudu Dasanayake to send in his young power hitter at number 3. So after the game yesterday, Lokesh Bam range hitting must have been hitting for 30, 45 minutes after the Canada match. He's smashing almost every ball for 6, but he tried it from his first delivery and he's being dismissed. What Kushal Bertel and Irie must do is they must still believe. You don't lose a game in a single over. It's the worst possible start, losing 2 wickets in the first over of the chase. But these two, they love batting together. They've got the highest partnership of the entire tournament. They repeated that today. Then their side would get home. They must believe. Huge advantage to the UAE. Well captained, well led by Ahmed Raza. He's at mid-off. And he's gone with the extra seamer today. One less spinner in the team. Runs into the offside, surely mix up, and Irie is sent back by Bertel. May not have been a single there, probably just as well he's sent back. Ireland have just struck. They've taken their first wicket over on the ground across to our left from this position. Difficult not to keep an eye on both matches. Mark Adair has found an early breakthrough there. Oman need 166 on that pitch. Here UAE defending 175. Probably advantage to Ireland and the UAE at the moment, but a lot of cricket to be played. And the quick single is run to close out the second over. 4 runs coming off it. It'll get us to 2 gone at 7 for 2.
Introducing the TVS Apache RTR 204V, engineered to adapt.
KNP अब KNP Nerolac, a subsidiary of Kansai Paints Japan.
आमाको हात अमृतको स्वाद।
विगत 45 वर्षदेखि अमृत तेल नै हो अमृत।
Irie picks this one up into the offside and so nearly a chance. It's Rohan Mustafa of all people, one of the standout fielders in the UAE side, and Irie needs to settle. Don't need to get all these runs in the first 4 or 5 overs. A big shot attempted. Not out of the middle of the bat, and fortune, Mustafa couldn't even attempt to take the catch. Nervy times for Nepal here. Cut away nicely, but there's protection down there. That's one of the 2 men outside the 30-yard circle. 3rd man in place, that's Zahor Khan, back into the team today. And out a deep backward square leg, that's Basil Hamid. First 6 overs, just 2 fielders allowed out. And just in case you're maybe tuning in for the first time, you might have just finished work, wherever you're watching on from. There's a big, strong wind, the strongest wind of the week, blowing across the ground from right to left as we look at it from our commentary position here. It makes the leg side boundary even shorter, and it's already the shorter side of the ground today. Slower ball worked into the leg side. It'll just be a single. Not much coming out of the middle at the moment for Nepal, but a long time to bat. They just need to keep half an eye on that required run rate. If it gets up north of 10s, and it gets up north of 10s early, they need to keep it in check. excellent in the quadrangular series that preceded this qualifier, that gave the four semi-finalists, the four sides that have ended up as semi-finalists, magnificent preparation. Cut away and going to be runs. The first boundary. Finally some cheers and there's some relief. A hugely talented young man, Kushal Bertel. He's already got 5 scores of 50 or more in what is a very young international career. Short and wide, cutaway, a little bit off the outside edge. Plenty of space down there, and it runs away for the first boundary. Just his 10th T20 international today, would you believe? Yeah, 450s and that 100. That 100 coming against the Philippines. What the Nepal fans would give for a century from Bertel today. Beaten for pace. Siddiqui is convinced. And Bertel is gone. Too quick from Siddiqui. He's blowing away this top order. What a catch from the man of the tournament, Viridia Aravind. He's clung on to his left. And with that dismissal, it extinguishes so much hope. The leading run scorer in this tournament for Nepal, he's gone. It's just a feather of an under edge. What a catch. Magnificently held on to, and Siddiqui knows how important that is. And it gets the UAE one step closer already to Australia. 14 for 3.
Bache RTR 204V.
जापानको सर्वोत्कृष्ट हेल्दी होम पेन्ट केएनपी तपाईहरुको अथाह मायाले गर्दा केएनपी अब भएको छ केएनपी नेरोल्याक केएनपी अब केएनपी नेरोल्याक a subsidiary of Kansai Paints Japan.
जगदम्बा सुपर साइन तथा जगदम्बा ग्याल्बा प्लस जस्ता पार्दा
So, a disastrous start to this chase. It's going to be Arif Sheikh to the crease. And he's going to start with a boundary. Sprays it down the leg side. Siddiqui's got a real head of steam up. And a nice start for Arif Sheikh. Gets that one away for his first boundary from his very first delivery. Just the second boundary of the innings so far. Real freebie. Looking for the glory ball, Siddiqui. He's taken 3 wickets in his 2 overs so far. It's 18 for 3.
Bache RTR 204V.
KNP अब KNP Nerolac, a subsidiary of Kansai Paints Japan.
The best. Saurya Cement.
आमाको हात अमृतको स्वाद
विगत 45 वर्षदेखि अमृत तेल नै हो अमृत.
He'll probably be in next at number 6. Dipendra Singh Ari is still out there as well. Player of the tournament in the quadrangular series. He excelled with bat ball and in the field, but it's just such a difficult task. Only 7 wickets in hand, nearly 10 and over required. And the UAE bowling lineup that's looking inspired to start with 3 wickets. They've all fallen to Siddiqui. Such a difficult thing to do, to chase under this pressure. Remember, before today, the Nepali bowlers had restricted their opposition to less than 100 on all 3 occasions. So it was their bowling and their fielding that was winning the games. Now their batting has to bail them out under the most difficult of circumstances. They're the only unbeaten side in the competition. They could be staring down the brink of their first defeat that would take away the dreams of Australia 2022. It's a cutthroat format. It's a brutal format. It really is. Get through for a quick leg bye. Have a look at the points table here. Only one side has won all 3 of its games so far, and that's the side that are staring down the barrel here, 3 down already. Ireland, the UAE, and Oman, they all lost to. UAE had to just scrape through by net run rate. Dipender Singh Airi is going to have to do something very special to get his country into the game here. And that's a lovely shot. So pleasing on the eye. Dipender Singh Airi, his first boundary through the offside. No more than a glide off the face of the bat. That's all about timing, that stroke. Pierces the gap beautifully. It's by far the shorter boundary over there towards the pavilion. It really is probably only 55 yards or so. And that's the side that the power hitters, particularly Mala, later in the innings will need to target into the leg side, but this time Airi makes good use of it through the off. Tries to repeat the dose coming down the track. It was the slower ball bowled into the wicket by Dowd, but can't beat the infield. I think he might have even been considering taking the aerial route at first, as he just shadow bats. He replays the shot. Big wicket over on the other ground. I think it's Simi Singh who's been brought into the attack. Ireland of their second. Action aplenty. Wish these 2 games weren't going on at the same time. Pulled into the deep. Will just be a single. So Airi will keep the strike. And he moves to double figures. 4 gone. It's 25 for 3.
Introducing the TVS Apache RTR 204V, engineered to adapt.
KNP अब KNP Nerolac, a subsidiary of Kansai Paints Japan.
जगदम्बा सुपर साइन तथा जगदम्बा ग्याल्बा प्लस जस्ता पार्दा
आफ्नै जस्तो लाग्छ आफ्नै जस्तो लाग्छ
Yasuda, your complete home solution.
He will continue, and he's got a real head of steam up. Has bowled the occasional extra, but 3 massive breakthroughs. The 2 openers and the promoted pinch hitter Lokesh Bam have all been dismissed. You can understand why Pabudu Dasanayake has taken that risk of promoting his youngster, known to strike a very big ball. Those 9 sixes he hit in the Prime Minister's Cup catapulted him into this squad, batting 3 in the qualifier. But I think what Nepal need to do here is just get through the Siddiqui over, maybe target the next over, the final one of the power play, try and keep that required run rate in check, and then start to build a partnership. Arif Sheikhs, he's more of a accumulator of runs. He's not going to hit big 4s and 6s all around the ground. He top scored in the first game, made 38 to get Nepal up to what looked like a very under par total of 117, but it proved 39 runs too many for the home side Oman. Just get through this over. See what the UAE have in the tank. Ahmed Raza a little bit annoyed with Mohammed Usman, who's just run over that ball when he had it well in hand. And I know there'll be very Many nervous fans watching on from both countries, but in huge numbers on Himalaya TV from Nepal. Do get in touch. Come and keep me company. I'm commentating solo here. Andrew Leonard, send us in some messages on Twitter or Instagram. How are you feeling? How are the emotions right now? You can get me at Cricket Badge on either of those platforms. As Irie cuts that away, and a brilliant diving stop. Oh, that's world class. Sensational from Mohammad Wasim. He stopped a certain 4. Irie's so quick they'll get back for 2. But look at this. The UAE fielding has often been much maligned, and rightly so. This was a remarkable stop. The moment it came off the bat, you said 4 runs. But he's flung himself after a brilliant innings in the first half of the game to save 2 runs for his country. Every run's going to count here. Fantastic stop. Really is hitting the bat hard here. And the UAE fielders are backing him up in a big way, Siddiqui. Yeah, like I was saying, do keep me company. I'm by myself here. Very nervous and tense myself, following all the action, not just on this ground, but keeping half an eye over to my left as Ireland take on Oman. Send me a message. What are you feeling? Where are you watching from? Get me at Cricket Badge. That's cricket followed by the letters BADGE on either Twitter or Instagram. Just send me a direct message. We might read a few of those out. Hopefully I'll get some company from Paul Radley as well in 10 or 15 minutes or so. But very nervous, very lonely right now in the commentary box. What are you feeling? Where's this game going? As that one's cut away. People watching on in their millions, I believe. That's what I'm hearing from Himalaya TV. At one stage, over 65,000 concurrent viewers on OSR. And brilliant job by Himalaya TV and the AdPad team. Suraj Giri and all the boys there have taken a big punt on the Nepali cricket side, and they're backing them in a big way. I know everyone's watching on Himalaya TV, so good afternoon or an early good evening to all of you watching all the way across Kathmandu, across Pokhara, Biratnagar, Barawa, Chitwan. Singhai is going to hold the key to this chase. He started nicely. He's got 15. 5 overs gone. In fact, they're going to run a second. Just, but only just. Would have been a nervy moment there for Dipender Singhai looking back at the umpire. Let's take a look at this replay in slow motion if we can. The end of the 5th. It's 34 for 3 now. Look at this. How quick is Dipender Singhai? Oh, just. He's only just home, is he? We'll come back to that in a moment.
The TV is Apache RTR 204V.
Such a critical moment. The UAE have been excellent with the ball and in the field. And these slower balls that Kashif Daud is bowling, they're very difficult to hit. Irie's used his feet a lot. He's trying to target the offside, trying to exploit the final over of the fielding restrictions. Picked that one up, and he's got it over the head, and he's got it away for 4. The fielder's right on the edge of the circle. Here comes Dipender Singhai. He still believes. Do his side still believe? Does the nation of Nepal still believe? They need more boundaries like this one. Another short ball, and it's been picked up well. Going to get 4 for it. Tension continues to rise. Starting to finally build a partnership. Those 3 early blows, it's hammer blows that the UAE have struck. It's so difficult to come back from that position But Dipendra Singh Airi still believes. We get 4 more. This is magnificent batting. He was the player of the tournament in the quadrangular, and right now 30 million hopes are squarely on his shoulders. 4 more back-to-back boundaries. Finally, some momentum here after those 3 early wickets. Dowd just getting too predictable, in my opinion. He's come in and either hit that length with a full-pace delivery or a slower ball. Just for the first time, the UAE looking a little rattled. They've got the best man possible. Ahmed Raza leading them. He was just at the top of your screen there talking to Kashif Dowd. Just slowing his bowler down. 2 deliveries remain of the power play. Irie picks that up. The running between the wickets. Never seen anything like it at any level. Almost hit and run stuff. So quick, and the communication is so brilliant on the fielders in all positions. In the power play, it's the final over the power play. Just gives some momentum to take coming out of the fielding restrictions. And Arif Sheikh, he's just got to stay there, just got to work the ball around, get Irie as much of the strike as possible. He's going to try and do more than that with a powerful cut. Very nearly got 4 for it, but he'll just get the single. End of the 6th over, end of the power play. Don't go anywhere. It's 45 for 3.
Introducing the TV's Apache RTR 204V. Engineered to adapt.
आधुनिक तथा विशिष्ट ग्याल्बोलुम प्लान्टबाट उत्पादित जगदम्बा सुपर साइन तथा जगदम्बा ग्याल्बा प्लस जस्ता पाता
KNP अब KNP Nerolac, a subsidiary of Kansai Paints Japan.
आमाको हात अमृतको स्वाद
विगत 45 वर्षदेखि अमृत तेल नै हो अमृत।
Change in bowling. Still no spin yet for the UAE. It will be Zahoor Khan to replace Junaid Siddiqui after a phenomenal burst, and delighted to get all your messages flooding into me at Cricket Badge on social media. I think my Instagram's crashed again here. Can't keep up with them all. And delighted to get some company in the commentary box who I'll introduce after this delivery. The first from Zahoor Khan. Short and wide, and you feel Arif Sheikh has missed out there. Paul Radley of the national newspaper, based there in Abu Dhabi, who follows the associate game avidly. I think he might well be commentating on the upcoming Cricket World Cup League 2 series as well there in the UAE. Good afternoon. This game looks to be going only one way unless Dipendra Singh Airi can pull off a miracle.
Well, they've consolidated. I think you can say that about these, or Dipendra at least. It was just very hazardous start they had.
Wasn't it? As this one is worked down to third man, almost as if the tactics from Nepal sent in were to go at it right from ball 1.
Yeah, I think so. I think they might have been spooked by the fact that it's quite a high total. It's not sort of outside the realms of possibility chasing it, but maybe they were spooked and they wanted to get off a fast start, having seen what Priti Aravind did in the UAE innings. I might have misread this, Lenny, but did you get the impression that in that first over they were entirely preoccupied by the fact that there is a short leg side boundary? Everything was going across the line in the first over of the innings. Seemed a bit too soon to be worrying about that. You just want to play straightish at that stage.
You're spot on. It's the perfect piece of analysis. Exactly what I thought in the first over as well. Every ball was across the line. Now, there is a really significantly shorter boundary, but you don't target that in the first over. You target that towards the death, or at least when you're settled at the crease, or if it's into your hitting arc. It wasn't, and sadly for Nepal, 3 of their batters have paid the price.
Yeah, and as you said, Lokesh, strange decision to have him up there, maybe. Look like the sort of thing you do, send in a sacrificial batsman to have a mo, and obviously it clearly didn't work at that stage.
Particularly when you've got Gyanendra in the squad. Have to say though, Siddiqui, he wasn't just excellent with his bowling, but the pace at which he bowled, that's as quick as I've seen him bowl.
Yeah, he struggled with injury actually over the past year or so. He hasn't had quite so much cricket, and I actually think that showed in this tournament, and in the few games preceding it on tour here in Oman. I think he's been feeling his way back, and he looks to me to be a bowler who needs a few overs in his legs. Obviously, you don't get a huge amount when you're playing mostly T20 cricket, but he's a different, from exactly as you say. You can see by the pace, it's totally different to what it was at the start of the tour.
Slower ball bouncer. It's been used a lot by the UAE bowlers. What have they seen in the wicket that maybe we didn't see too much from their opposition?
Well, it's sort of as a horse staple, really. That's one of the tricks he's got. He's got a lot of tricks, actually. In actual fact, his bouncers tend to be slower ones. Sometimes batsmen can get shocked by the pace in the other direction as well. When he slips in his Yorkers, they tend to be very, very fast. He goes up and down the scale in terms of speed a lot, and it makes him difficult to read. That's sort of his main forte, really.
It's just a slight fumble from Mohammad Wasim at backward point. That'll get us to the end of the 7th over. The 50s come up. Lots more runs needed. It's 50 for 3.
Introducing the TVS Apache RTR 204V, engineered to adapt.
Plumber CPVC pipes and fittings. गुणस्तरीय, टिकाऊ, तातो चिसो अनुकूल, लीकेज को पक्का समाधान.
यो म्यासेज वाला लिकेज को नि केही समाधान छ कि?
Plumber CPVC pipes and fittings. विश्वास प्लम्बिङ को.
आमाको हात अमृतको स्वाद.
विगत 45 वर्षदेखि अमृत तेल नै हो अमृत.
आफ्नै जस्तो लाग्छ, आफ्नै जस्तो लाग्छ.
Yasuda, your complete home solution.
Spin for the first time today, and the hugely experienced Rohan Mustafa, who was used strangely with the bat all the way down at number 8, doesn't like missing out on the big occasion, does he? And he'll want to do it with his 4 overs of off spin instead.
Yeah, absolutely. He's the total competitor, this guy. The pressure's on. He'll be right up for it.
And look at that, almost right on cue. There's the celebrations, and it's the archery comes out, Sagittarius or something, I'm not sure what it is. Didn't switch in time, but Rohan Mustafa has dismissed Arif Sheikh, who's looked for the cut shot, and he's paid the price.
Yeah, looked like it drifted on a little bit. Maybe he's